background?
I can't. That's
Okay, we're live. Never mind.
I'm having a moment, everyone.
I'm not ready.
Oh my gosh. Let's just go ahead and kick this off.
I was talking on mute. Sorry. Are you kicking us off, Syya, or do you want me to? Okay, now we can't hear you, Syya. Are you muted?
Oh my gosh, no.
Okay, there you are.
Go ahead, Erin.
Yes. All right, Syya is out. All right, welcome to Afterglow. We're having a few technical difficulties. The joys of going live. I'm Erin Gregor. Syya, all our names are kind of messed up, but Syya is there. Say hello, Syya. And we are joined by Mo. It's Mo Hasan, correct, Mo?
Yes, that's correct. Good morning.
Right. Good morning. Mo is here from Miami. He is the chair of GLO over there. Hi, Mo.
Hi, great to be with you guys this morning.
Great to be with you. And I'm sad you're in an office today. Usually Mo is joining us from a boat.
So I was actually supposed to be on my boat today, but we have wind gusts up to 30 miles an hour, so weather does not permit boating life today. So I'm actually at home, hanging out on this beautiful Friday. Excited to talk about all the things that are on the Afterglow program with you awesome ladies.
Yes, well, very excited for you to be here. You are with, I'm going to say this wrong. I apologize. I'm like not prepared at all, but that's okay. Into Power, is that?
Yes, Into Power.
Tell us about Into Power and what you all do and what specifically who you help.
Yeah, so at Into Power, what we do is we focus on executive training and really executive training and consulting are two major product lines. And we focus on senior managers that are in mature organizations. So typically you're 3 generations of CEOs or executive directors in, and we help with all sorts of things like organizational maturity, operational efficiency, helping executives be less of a jerk sometimes can be part of the job as well, especially when you get into these older organizations, and really teaching people about emotional intelligence, advanced communication skills, operational efficiency, and the technologies that they use in their businesses, and a variety of other tools and best practices to improve their conditions at work.
Awesome. You have a lot of stuff going on though too, don't you? I mean, do you talk about everything that you've got going on?
You know, if I talk about everything going on, that kind of like takes up the entire
that would be our whole
time. Yeah. So I also do a variety of projects that I'm currently launching right now, focusing on artificial intelligence and machine learning and robotics to take advantage of integrating things from real estate to financial investments to a few other projects that are currently in progress. And I recently joined a private equity firm as well. So that's something else going on.
So you're saying you're really bored. Is that what you're saying?
You know, you'd be shocked at how easy it is to get bored in life. No, I'm kidding. I mean, honestly, there's a lot of stuff that I feel like, if anything, I'm like the laziest person I know, because I mainly just go to parties and hang out, and that's how things seem to get done so far. But I should probably put in more office time. I could probably do a better job. Let's put it that way.
No, I think everybody should aspire to be like Mo when they grow up. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I think it really should be just like, how do I make a living being happy, enjoying life, and doing cool stuff? That's pretty much Mo. Am I right? Is that
that's actually a good summary of it. That's I definitely enjoying life and enjoying fun and happiness are much more of a priority for me than doing business.
That's awesome. Syya, can you talk at all? I don't want to keep like plowing over you, but nope. All right. Syya is working on her miming skill. Oh, there you are. Hey.
Yeah, we could do it.
I'm having the worst StreamYard moment. I have 2 images and I can echo. I hear myself. So
annoying. Yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
Echo. We can hear you, but we can't hear you echo.
Okay. Well, then I'll just try to ignore it.
All right. So yesterday, so what we do on Afterglow is we give a recap and discuss what was brought up in the GLO presentation, the Business Accelerator 2.0, I believe it's called. We just lost Mo. This is
I'm here.
Okay, Mo is still there. Good. Okay.
I'm just
But
going
we
to turn on my do
discussed.
not disturb mode, so pardon me.
Okay. All right, cool. So we discussed the conversation we had. So let me just do a real quick recap. GLO stands for Global Leaders Organization. C and I are the chairs of the Dallas chapter. Mo is part of Miami chapter. And every Thursday at 10 a.m. Central, they do a presentation. They've interviewed some amazing people, and it's Thursday. It's live. If you're a premium member, though, you get to go in the last 15 minutes, which was really cool yesterday because we got a very exclusive piece of info. And who we had yesterday was James Keys, and James was the former CEO of Blockbuster and 7-Eleven. And he gave a lot of great insight to, I mean, I love the stories he told about how Blockbuster was trying to pivot, what exactly happened. So I admit I was a bit in and out. I was working with a client yesterday in our Fort Worth studio, so just getting him set up. But Mo, what were your thoughts on James?
I thought he was amazing. And, there were some things that really surprised me. Now, I grew up in Virginia, where from my house, 7-Eleven was a staple growing up, right? Like I had 4 7-Elevens within walking distance of my house. Like literally, I just pick a corner of a gradient and I can get there. And it was so interesting, James, talk about that 7-Eleven is really the manifestation of the American dream. And that really stuck with me. Like, holy moly, like that's no joke. That yeah, there are so many. He said there's 100+ countries represented in 7-Eleven franchise ownership. And what a great example of being able to come in, work somewhere, and really take over as a franchise owner and then expand, right? Open multiple locations, create financial security. And it was really fascinating is the number of, he said these were first generation Americans, right? And so the number of their kids that were able to go to school, they were able to go to college and get a higher education because of this American dream opportunity. That was really just an awesome, inspiring thing. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting like the horror stories, and I was expecting the lessons learned. But that really had me think also about like, hey, what am I doing in my business, right? Am I leaving a legacy? Am I leaving an impact? So that was nice. That was really interesting.
Yeah, that is cool. It really is a amazing franchise model in what they have, and that I remember many moons ago. This was probably like 10 years ago. 7-Eleven was hosting this event where Damon John from Shark Tank came. It was really like looking back on it, it was such a cool thing. Like nobody knew about this. And we had the chance to go. We were in this tiny room, but they were really utilizing it as a setup to try to sell franchises, is what they were doing. But they had him speak. But they really work hard. A lot of times these franchise businesses are like, okay, you need like $5 million in the bank and, pay us $600 million to come on. And 7-Eleven really, at the time, just from what I saw, works hard to really truly, like he said, build that American dream, like allow these people who may not have a ton of money, who may not have, mad entrepreneurial skills behind them, but to help them build these 7-Elevens. And it's just really cool, the program. Like I actually was almost inspired to build my own 7-Eleven. I never thought I'd be the convenience store kind of gal, but I mean, I was very inspired at this event. I'm like, yeah, maybe we do want a few 7-Elevens. So they really do work to build that dream. Syya, I don't know if you want to chat. You can just shake your head no if you don't want to, but any input from yesterday?
Yeah, no. When I went to Thailand 13, 14 years ago for the first time, there were 3 7-Elevens on 4 corners. We just happened to stand on the one where the 7-Eleven wasn't at. And I'm looking and I'm like, what's going on? And I had to go visit every single one. It was jam-packed and it was being utilized. My mind was blown because in the United States, 7-Eleven isn't as pervasive, but in Asia, it's everywhere.
Yeah, what's so interesting you have that, because I grew up in a place where 7-Eleven was everywhere. Like you couldn't get away from it. So, but you're right, it's totally in Japan as well. I had the same experience when I was out in Tokyo.
So when he was talking about you guys, he went there. Michelle asked him about Blockbuster.
Yeah.
And what really struck me about Jim was the fact that he owned it. He admits that he was the CEO where Blockbuster had the opportunity to take out Netflix when he had the chance, and he wasn't able to make that happen. And so I noticed in his messaging the emphasis on education and the three C's that he shared: change, confidence, clarity, and then he added communication. I felt like that really shaped him, that experience with Blockbuster, the success of 7-Eleven, and then obviously you know, the memification with Blockbuster. I felt
Right.
like he sat back and said, okay, let me retool myself. Did you guys get that impression with him?
Yeah, honestly, I got the impression not only did that change him like while he was at that position, but it sounded like it was quite the kick in the pants long after he left the position as well. In the sense that, I remember him sharing in the call yesterday about how he is now branded as one of these famous CEOs that basically sucked at some point, right? There was some sort of major technology failure, like someone who couldn't keep up with the times. And you could tell the way he was describing, like, this is some painful stuff. It's one thing when you screw up and your friends and family know. It's another thing when they're making memes about you, right? And you're making top 10 lists of like worst CEOs, even though it wasn't your fault, right? He really came in at the tail end of it when they were already spiraling downwards and Netflix had already made their moves. And it's very interesting that you even come in and try and take on a position like that, especially after you'd already had the success with 7-Eleven. So I think,
Right. Well,
hats off and kudos for him for stepping into such a challenging role. And boy, like when I think about it, like that kind of public shaming, it's like, and it's that whole Monday morning quarterback thing, right? It doesn't matter how good of a quarterback you are, you screw up one thing. It doesn't matter if it's your fault or not. Everyone's talking about it. And so I'm curious, how would you ladies handle, that kind of public flogging, if you will, in your performance? Like,
God,
whoa.
I don't know. I mean, that is tough. And, like and he gave a great talk, like I was saying in the VIP section, where he talked about how they first saw this need that they needed to go digital. The technology was still clunky. And, he Monday morning quarterbacked himself. And so,
Yeah.
obviously if I had hindsight and knew what was going to happen, I would have done things totally different. But that's what's hard. And what's so interesting about some of these companies, like you look at the falls of some of these companies, and sometimes like the technology just wasn't quite there yet. They couldn't hang on long enough to get there, right? Or they were ahead of their time. Like I always find those interesting stories of, well, they were adopting some sort, but it was they were too ahead of the game. People weren't ready
Yeah.
for it. Like pets.com is that perfect
yeah.
example, or those
Right.
grocery, they were doing what we live and breathe by now, but the infrastructure, they were too ahead. And so it's almost like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. I kind of got the impression that they, like you talked about, Mo, his back was against the wall, and to go forward it could have completely destroyed them, or not to do anything. You know what I mean? It was
Yeah.
a really interesting thing, but he would have been the funny meme either way, right?
Yeah. And it's like, what do you do when your advisors are all telling you one thing, right? And that's why you put your board into position. And then they take an action completely counter what your intentions are.
Yeah.
And I'm somebody who I was ousted by the board of my nonprofit that I started like 12 years ago. So I certainly know the feeling of, butting heads with the board and dealing with that. But to that degree, it's like, you trust your people, right? You trust your team members. And like I was saying, his board members included former executives at Showtime and major studios. So these are industry people that knew what they're doing. But it was really difficult back then. I mean, I remember this is, I think a lot of young people nowadays take video technology and streaming for granted, right? Because we're just so used to everybody streaming everything all the time. But hot diggity, there was a time where even your Netflix account, like when it first started, if you didn't have super duper internet, you're gonna wait it out. It'll be choppy, it's not smooth, and the movie experience wasn't great for a
Yeah.
little bit, right? I remember for a while, I still preferred, I had the DVDs and the streaming because
Yeah.
the DVDs were better quality, better audio, better everything. So, gosh, my heart goes out to him, right, for having been through that. And I love that his willingness to go through it. And I really like what he shared with us at the tail end of like his new projects where, he's mentioned education is very important. And now he's doing an education and then it sounds like an ed tech play very specifically, which I find very,
Mhm.
very fascinating.
Yeah, no, and I mean, look at even Netflix. It's not like so Blockbuster distributed movies, right?
Yeah.
Netflix now, in order to survive, is not about distributing media. I mean, they're not about. They are a media. They are creating their own media, and that's what's keeping them alive. So it's like, okay, maybe they would have run the race a little further, but would they have? Like, would they have pivoted again? Like, you never know. Anyway, see what we.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm seeing Joseph's concept or comments, and he did mention that there was outside issues on top of
Yes.
simply the technology
Yes.
or the positioning, and he said there was a corporate raider, right? They were just not good in a financial place in general,
Yeah.
Exactly.
and
Yeah, because
how
you talked
much
about
can
the
you
debt
take those
issues
risks,
and
right?
right.
Um, what I did notice, and he was gentle about it, was I asked him, I go, well, then what did you do? What did you actually
I like that
do
question.
after this all went down to recenter yourself? Or did you? Or what did you do? And his response, he took off for what, 90 days to, what did he say, Tuscany?
Yeah,
And
somewhere in Italy.
was part of an art program, like
Mhm.
completely different, retooled his brain to focus on something else, and then come back and reemerge like a phoenix, if you will.
Yeah.
How important do you think that it is in general, and how would you do it if we were in that situation? If we were just to have a flight of fancy?
Well, I personally think you question I mean, it's, I could say it's just me, but I have a feeling it's everybody. It's like you put something on social media, you get 7,000 positive comments, you get one negative, you're like, I suck, right?
Yeah.
You never, and so same thing with, it's like you have these successes. You can look back on your entire career and be like, success, 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 success. You have a massive failure like that. I'm assuming, unless you're superhuman or, not the norm, you probably question everything. Like, do I suck? And, even like Joseph is explaining things very well over here in the comments. I wish everybody could see these. I feel like I need to read everything because he's very explaining this a lot better than I could, just about what was happening behind the scenes. And case in point, it wasn't entirely his fault. Like I said, his back was against the wall. So even with all that data, you're getting blamed by the world. Therefore, you're probably blaming yourself too. And to break away and just go away and refine yourself, I think is so important. And I really am impressed that he had the wherewithal to say, I need to get the hell out of here. An art program of all things. I just think it's amazing. Like a corporate CEO kind of guy. I was not expecting that answer at all. And I love that he took that moment for himself to say, I need to find myself. And maybe at this point in my life, I would do that because I know better. But earlier on, I don't think I would have. I think I would have sulked in my own self-despair. But Mo, what about you?
I mean, so I literally did this thing, right? To step away and to unplug. Um, my original intention was to do it for 3 weeks for myself, and it ended up being over 2 years. And I remember a few years ago, I had heard a speaker on stage talk about how he'd gone through some life changes, and then he like took all this time off and stopped all his momentum and just killed everything and just unplugged. And I thought at the time, like, that sounds insane. Right? That sounds insane to take that much time off, to burn through your cash, to burn through your assets, because when you take that much time off, you're going to have to make some adjustments, right? Typically to
Right.
lots of things. But what I've discovered for myself is that, and man, it's worth it. It's worth it to take the time, because I think about like who I was just a couple of years ago. My mindset, the amount of like stress and anxiety that I had in my life is completely different than the type of stress and anxiety that I have now. It's like I think it's well worth it to take the time. I think that most people, especially high performers, could really benefit from a timeout.
Oh,
And
agree.
and especially like C-suite executives who are on the grind, who are having to make a boatload of important, urgent decisions on a regular basis. Boy, to give yourself some time just to bring that attention back to yourself, right? Because usually all your attention is external to your organization, towards your people and clients and relationships. So to really just take that time to just remember anything about yourself, or the fact that you're supposed to like eat or work out or do things, can be easily forgotten. You know?
100%.
So, Eddie, thanks for mentioning that he did take people from EDS and HP. I think you must have run by each other at some point at HP. But when you're talking, you're bringing outside people in, and then us trying to recenter ourselves. How much do you look to others to help you find that center, or do you feel it's a internal search first and then community?
I think it depends on the tools that you have already in your tool belt, in mindfulness and emotional intelligence, understanding trauma handling, and just overall your ability to exercise your spiritual tools, right, as opposed to just physical universe tools. So if you don't have those tools, then certainly taking classes, getting some coaching and mentoring from people that are advanced in those tools, I think would be a good start. I did a really weird thing when I started my break, which was I intentionally cut out my mentors,
Interesting.
because I had been working with my mentors, I'd been achieving things. And so I remember the day very clearly, right? I had like a major, major meltdown. I was in Miami. I'm driving across the bridge, going from Miami to Miami Beach. And it's like this gorgeous, perfect day. And I'm driving over the bay, and it's beautiful, and there's boats and stuff. And I'm bawling. I'm just like bawling because I can't believe how sad and pathetic I feel. Like, I'm sad for myself that I'm this skilled, this talented, yet this unhappy with life's conditions.
Mm.
Unhappy with where my career was going. And on paper, it looked great. On paper, it's like, oh, I'm doing all these international projects, and I'm traveling around to tropical islands and speaking on stages, and it looked glamorous, and it was, but I still wasn't happy. And it's because there were so many limitations on, I would say that the real limitations were that I just didn't even know what was going on. I was just in the grind of things and just trying to move the ball forward in success and projects and things like that, without actually paying any attention to myself and handling myself. So that was and in that moment I decided, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to give myself the advice that I would give one of my clients. Like, what would I do? And the advice I gave myself immediately was to stop the motion, right? Like, sometimes in life, instead of going in a different direction, it's just to stop, to cease the actions that were going on. And so I found that to be an extremely useful thing, to just stop everything. And it gave me space. It gave me space.
I
Wow.
love that.
That's awesome.
Well, guys, we can keep talking, and I apologize that we started late. And speaking of failing, I feel like an absolute fail. We've done this for a year now, and I don't know what's going on technology wise. So my apologies. I'm going to have some recentering right now, because I'm very pissed off at myself that I couldn't get this StreamYard to work out correctly. Erin, for next week, or I'm sorry, for GLO, any final thoughts before we need to let our friend Mo go?
Well, all of this of what we're talking about is part of GLO, Global Leaders Organization, as I said. So we would love to have you. As I said, we have opportunities for premium members, not just the nice 15-minute VIP treatment after every Thursday's event. But there's a lot of other perks, access to capital. I can't even list them all right now. There's so many, but we would love to have you be part of our organization. So as I said, Syya and I are part of Dallas. Mo is part of Miami. You can head over to withglo, GLO.com and find out more, and hopefully you'll join us for the next one.
Excellent. And speaking of our next guest, it's going to be Lee Mayer. She's the co-founder and CEO of interior design startup Havenly. And super excited to listen about her because she was the VP and GM of an auto insurance company called Bankrate and then launched her own business. So she's got an interesting path to entrepreneurship and leadership. And if you guys are interested, definitely hit up withglo.com, WITHGLO.com, RSVP, or you can watch it live on Facebook and YouTube, or you could just watch the Afterglow Recap podcast on Fridays to hear this summary version.
But don't do that. You need to join and pay premium.
That's true. You do. Yeah, join and be part of the cool crowd.
You don't want the Cliff Notes version, just saying.
And then also one thing that's launching is forums, you guys.
Yes.
We had a forum session and I got emotionally touched.
I was actually like really impressed with the way that forum session worked out. Like it was a wow factor there. So I'm excited.
We're gonna have to talk about that later, guys.
Yes, that was really good.
So on that note, everyone have a safe weekend, successful business week, and we will catch you on the next episode of Afterglow. See ya.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye, guys.